Hey, let's start out on this rather low booktube day with a little check-in with the Mnshn War by Elmer Leonard, which is definitely efficient, tight, well plotted Elmer Leonard. I would say that like while the villains are fairly vivid in their fucking horribleness, um, you know, they've just this is spoilers. I'm in like chapter 11 or 12. They blow away the sheriff. They've they murdered. They're murdering. They're hitting. Attacking people. We already know that like one is a a career rapist. That another one is just complete psychopath. When it shoots the elderly sheriff. Um, um, while they're pretty vivid, I'm finding Son Martin, the guy at the center, the still thing at the center, is is probably a little too still. He's a little too solid, little too just sits there and stares at you, which I could see an actor taking and kind of enlivening. I'm finding him a little bit of just sort of a bit of an emptiness at the center of this novel. Like if he popped a little bit more, the novel would probably be balanced and would be equal to this. Uh, you know, he himself might be a horrible person, but he's much less of a horrible person than the people who are trying to steal his father's uh, legacy to him. These 150 barrels of whiskey. Let's go check and see how all our little creatures are doing here. Um, okay, there's our creature. Good. Um, so yeah, there's that. There is the thing of the MacGuffin of the plot of where the whiskey is. Uh, there was something very kind of obvious at the beginning of like, oh, well, here I'm going to talk about it because this is all spoilers for the Mnshn War. If you care, turn away. But that this grave, the grave site of his father, it's up on the hill. We now at page 163 or something of a 220 novel. One of the bad guys, the old army buddy that Son Martin unaccountably told that his father had put away all this whiskey, and has now come for it as a federal prohibition officer, and has enlisted the aid of all these fucking complete out of control criminals. Which they're completely out of control now, out of Frank Long's control. He goes over to the gravesite and says like, oh, this is where the Martin family burial site is, in this graveyard. So everybody's buried here. So why the hell is the old man buried all alone up on that hill? And it's like, it's because you know that ain't a burial site, but it's probably the mouth of a one of the coal mine tunnels that are riddle the hills from people coal mining, but also great place to store 150 or 160 whatever barrels of aged Kentucky whiskey. So, yeah, duh. So yeah, I think that's my basic things at the moment. I did look on Goodreads, and someone was saying like, oh, all these characters are terrible, 2 stars. It's like, it's a crime. It's a hard crime novel where it's like it's criminals and more criminals and more criminals. So even if you're going to have a protagonist in a book like this, they're going to be criminals, and they're not going to be, even they are not going to be nice people. It's like Son Martin is supposedly he's not the hero of the book. He's definitely the protagonist of the book. Um, this Mnshn War isn't happening between somebody who's trying to uphold the law or is trying to be good. It's like, no, it's between people who all want the money. They want, of this moonshine. and Son Martin isn't giving it up, regardless of the fact that his neighbors are getting terrified, possibly murdered, their families endangered, gonna starve to death. It's like he's not giving up what's his. There's definitely a very male thing here. The other thing is there's a character, um, Millie Millie, who is the, I guess, for better lack of a better word, the Moll of the Dr. Talbin, who is the dentist rapist and also leader of all these criminal bootleggers. And she's basically, it's like you've got the Madonna whore thing. It's like she is very much, she's just basically there to, she wants to have sex with everybody. you know she has sex with Son. She thinks about having sex with Frank. She thinks about it's like, no, not Duel, because Duel is really fucking repulsive. But basically all the men there for, that's all that she's there for, without particularly any morals, which is, I guess, why she's with the Dr. Tolbin, and is, it's like, yeah, I'll put out for him because it's my best offer. It's like, that's all she's there for. So the female characters in this novel, yeah, not so much. But then again, the male characters are also, they're all types, all very much strictly types. But that's sort of the thing of an Elmer Leonard novel. What are you going there for? It's like a kind of a brisk, kind of well plotted, tight language thing. There's not as much, as I think I said earlier, there's not as much like kind of snap dialogue, but what dialogue there is, it's like click, click, click. It's got its pleasures, even if you, it's not a genre that I read a lot of, because I can only take so much of, rough and tumble types, um, you know, hardened criminal. The It's like, it's a pretty bleak outlook. Even if you think, oh, you'd be, well, yeah, I wouldn't be the hero. I'd just be some poor schmuck who'd get a bullet in the back of his head at some point, begging for my life. So it's like, I know exactly. I'd be victim number 73 in this series, and I wouldn't even, I would rate maybe a sentence, and I wouldn't be named character. If you know what I mean. All right, I will leave it there for the moment. More videos later.